All right, let's talk about blood pressure, high blood pressure specifically, or hypertension. And let's talk about one of the most commonly believed factors that is in fact not a driver of high blood pressure. And let's talk about something that really is a driver of high blood pressure and how it actually works. Now, it's really not that complicated and it's very interesting. So stick around. Welcome to SHAPEFIXER. I'm Andrew. I am a nutritionist. I used to have high blood pressure, even though I was really fit, doing a lot of sport, not massively overweight. And I understand now why I had high blood pressure. So let's start off with the thing that is not the main driver of blood pressure, and that is dietary salt. But there is a link between salt, high salt content, sodium specifically, in your blood and high blood pressure. And that is why there has been a lot of confusion or a lot of misunderstanding over the years, is because there appears to be an association with high blood pressure and a high sodium content in the blood. But it turns out that the sodium from the salt in the blood, although it's there when you have high blood pressure, it's not the cause of the high blood pressure. I've done a video on salt. I'll link it down here below and you can watch that. Just as an aside, I was at the hospital recently with a client who was having heart trouble, and we were in the cardiology department, and the first thing they did was put him on a salt drip. You don't put people on a salt drip if salt is bad for your heart. His blood pressure, when he was admitted, was high, and they put him on a salt drip anyway. So they know salt is not what drives high blood pressure. What does? All right, there are a few things that drive high blood pressure, and this video isn't about all the things that drive high blood pressure, but I want to talk about one in particular because it is so common and yet so underappreciated or not often recognized. And I'm going to explain to you how sugar, dietary sugar or carbohydrates, a high carbohydrate diet drives high blood pressure. I'm going to explain to you how that happens. You probably know by now, especially if you watch this channel regularly, that when you eat carbohydrates, your blood insulin level goes up. Insulin is a hormone. It has a lot of different functions in your body, but one of the functions is to clear sugar out of your blood, because high blood sugar is very dangerous. So every time you eat carbohydrates and you take that extra glucose into your blood, your body needs to get it out. So your insulin level goes up. So if you're on a high carbohydrate diet or a standard Western diet, which is very high in carbohydrates, with all the fruit and the bread and the grains, and not to mention the clearly sweetened processed stuff, then your insulin is going to be high. One of the effects of high insulin, the insulin acts on your kidneys, and without getting into the real details of it, I have a study here, the effects of insulin on renal handling of sodium. I'm going to link this below. So if you really want to get into the science and the data and which part of the kidney gets affected by the insulin, please go and download this study. But what it does is it interferes with your kidney's ability to regulate sodium and water in your blood. And the kidneys do not excrete as much sodium as they should, and they do not excrete as much water as they should, and they retain water and they retain sodium, which then goes back into your bloodstream. So if you pump, which is essentially what your kidney is doing, if you pump extra water and sodium into the blood, you're putting more liquid into a closed system. So what happens? The pressure goes up. It's not the salt that's making the pressure go up. It's your kidneys pumping water back into your blood and increasing the volume of fluid that's in your circulatory system. That puts the pressure up. Now, the fact that it's pushing sodium in there as well is not really, doesn't make any difference. That's not the point. But because it's pushing water and sodium into the blood to make the pressure go up, every time your pressure's up and you have a look at that blood, oh, look, there's sodium in here. The sodium's not causing it. The insulin is causing it. So the sugar in your diet is causing your blood pressure to go up. Now, there are other things that happen. Your insulin also can interfere with your kidneys' regulation of potassium, and you pee more potassium out than you should, so your potassium comes low, and that is also a contributor to high blood pressure. Most blood pressure medications are actually potassium supplements in disguise with a medical name. So there's another way that insulin raises your blood pressure. It pumps extra water into your blood system, which just swells up the veins, and it takes potassium out, which causes high blood pressure. The salt is not the issue. And that, my friends, is the point. Now, there are other things that cause high blood pressure. Cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So if you have a lot of stress, or if you're not getting good sleep, your cortisol levels also go up. And cortisol, just like insulin, has a very, very similar effect on your kidneys and will also push water and salt into your blood and will also increase your blood pressure. But the sugar is the main one. Most of us are overweight. We are insulin resistant to a point. We're heading towards diabetes. We might not have it yet. Insulin resistance is sometimes called pre-diabetes. So we may not have been diagnosed with diabetes, but it's already affecting our kidney function. The high levels of insulin are affecting our kidney function. Our kidneys are not able to properly regulate the water content in our blood, which results in high blood pressure. So if you want to get your blood pressure down, one of the first things you've got to do is cut the sugars, cut the carbohydrates from your diet. Go on a ketogenic diet, a low carbohydrate diet, preferably a carnivore diet, but it doesn't have to be a carnivore diet for the sake of your blood pressure. You just need to be eating fat to replace the sugars so that you have as much energy as you still need without raising your insulin level. And that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Please have a look at the video I did on salt, because that's also very interesting. And I am about to do one on stress, on cholesterol. Not cholesterol, cortisol. How cortisol affects your blood pressure and what you can do to lower your stress levels. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel. We make educational videos on a regular basis to try and explain quite complicated scientific things in very simple, easy to understand way. Thank you very much.